Mississippi is still a very rough place. People is not just walking up like they used to do in the past, walking out, shooting a man down or getting maybe 200 or 300 people carrying you out and lynching you, but it's in a more settled way. They can let you starve to death, not give you jobs. These are some of the things that's happening right now in Mississippi. See, Mississippi is not actually Mississippi's problem. Mississippi is America's problem. Because if America wanted to do something about what has been going on in Mississippi, it could have stopped by now. It wouldn't have been in the past few years between 40 and 50 churches bombed and burned.
What you just saw there was just a short clip of Fannie Lou Hamer, a civil rights activist that had went through hell and back, was even sterilized against her will. And we may talk about her in another video or so, because I don't forget those that paved the way for where a lot of us are today. And for some reason or another, the people that you see on the thumbnail that I've talked about, and we want to key in one in particular that just made a recent video here, Corey, a Smart Christian channel. I want you to hear the words out of his mouth first, and I'm going to show you the clip, and I want you to hear where he's showing Justin Peterson, or Peters, or however you say the man's name, where his stance is on things as far as this turning point stuff. Because those of you that's been following me and those of you that are new know that I've been into this, following this for a while now and speaking out against it. So let's listen to them, and then we're going to come back and have a serious conversation.
And so Justin Peters is in agreement with me. I'm in agreement with him. That is this issue concerning Turning Point. Now, got my Turning Point shirt on. I do support Turning Point. However, I do not support Turning Point USA Faith. And there is a reason why. Turning Point is a political organization. And I think, for the most part, I would say for the most part, what they stand for, what they push, conservatively speaking, I think I'm in lockstep. As a matter of fact, for the history of America, most of Americans' history, most Americans would be in lockstep. Now things have changed, obviously.
TPUSA Faith. I'm with them. I am with them on the politically conservative issues standpoint. You will be hard pressed to find someone who is more conservative, politically speaking, than yours truly.
USA really ought to be doing this. I think that every Christian needs to be aware. It's really, truth be told, every Christian ought to just stay away from Turning Point USA Faith. Turning Point USA, different story. Turning Point USA Faith, that's another story. Not the same thing. I would support Turning Point, but not Turning Point USA Faith.
And so, no, I'm on the board with pulling the lever for conservatives in government. Absolutely. I'm thrilled with what I'm seeing from the Trump administration. Thrilled with it.
But we need to talk about this, because you see where Corey proudly lifts show the shirt as far as a Turning Point USA, talking about Turning Point Faith, Turning Point USA. There's no difference. They're all together. You can't straddle the fence with this stuff. And the thing is, the people that's on the thumbnail, we know that they all are conservatives. That's fine. You're conservative. You support conservative values. I've got, plenty of friends, of all walks. Atheist friends, independent friends, whatever, you name it. And many of you do as well. But what I have a problem is with people like Corey, that he named this channel the Smart Christian channel or something, the smart, whatever, smart. But it doesn't seem that he's being that smart. He's not using common sense. Because why would anybody want to identify themselves with a movement that I've said before, that is, you can't separate Christian nationalism and white nationalism. You can't separate them, because the movement, the people that are in power politically that he supports, they believe in white nationalism. And this guy right here says it well as you listen.
Christian nationalism is about control. That's what it is, right? They're forcing the 10 Commandments in the Texas schools. They're forcing Bibles in schools. Now they're going to play the white victim card and say, oh, they're coming after your Christianity. The white evangelical church is indoctrination. And I say this as a person of faith. If you don't want to have an abortion, don't have one. If you don't want to be gay, then don't be gay. If you don't want to be trans, don't be trans. But when you take away people's right to choose what they do, you are literally taking away their free will. But you justify it for your white supremacy. Oh, this is what Jesus would want. Really? Jesus fed people. He cured people. He helped the sick. He literally said, love thy enemy. He literally said, remove the log from your own eye before you see the speck in your brother's. And that's really what Christian nationalism is. Walking around with a big-ass log in their eye, seeing the speck in everybody. Ooh, you're gay. Ooh, you're trans. Ooh, you're lesbian. Oh, you're this. While you vote for a man who sexually assaults women. While you rejoice Pete Hegseth, who is an alcoholic and cheats on his wife and has children out of wedlock. While you support Warbrains, who had so many affairs. His wife, she unalived herself, sadly. While the guy in the White House, the cosplay Christian, nominated Matt Gaetz, who had sex with minors. But hey, praise Jesus, turn to God or you're going to hell. It's about control and it's about fear. Women have had a 52% increased sepsis rate since Roe versus Wade. Does that sound like free will? Does that sound pro-life? No, not at all. It's about control. Go back to Jesus. What did they do? They crucified him in the name of God because he wasn't good enough for them. That's what this is. It's about control, nothing else. As long as you're that same demographic, which is white, straight people, it doesn't matter how effed up your moral compass is. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter what you believe. Just beat people down.
They told us character matters are now just waving away really serious and shocking character issues as though they don't matter at all. It's just leaving a wreckage of cynicism in its wake. In the case of Trump, I was concerned that evangelical Christianity would become synonymous in the minds of people inside the church and outside the church with Trumpism. Many evangelical Christians agreed with me then. It wasn't until after the primaries that they didn't. The separation of the state from the church is a key Baptist confessional principle that predates the United States of America. Because people have to come to God one by one through new birth, someone cannot be claimed as a Christian because of citizenship in a state. So if the state or the culture bullies people out of openly expressing their religious views, you don't end up with Christians, you end up with pretend Christians. And as an evangelical Christian, I don't think that takes anyone to heaven.
He explains it well. I thought that was a good explanation because it's really about control. It's really about where people of color, you're not wanted in this movement. I know the people like Vivek Ramaswamy, as he's told here from Ann Coulter.
I, too, am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian.
She told him she wouldn't vote for him because he's an Indian. I mean, I don't know why these people are, dancing and bucking around to try to fit in with the movement of people. This is not, this is the thing. This is not, folks, the Republican Party of 15 years ago. It's not. It's not the Colin Powells, the Condoleezza Rices. It's not none of that. For those that want to be black and try to identify with something, this movement, as you can see, why else there's still 2,000 Confederate monuments or things still up right now, as far as actual, I think it's 685 actual monument statues, certain things still up. And then you got the names of streets, government buildings, all of this. And And they don't want to take it down. They want it back, many things back up. A lot of this stuff needs to be put in a museum, as I said it before, but nobody should have to walk around and see something displayed of people that fought like hell to keep slavery in place. And there's people still with this mindset that's within this movement, this political movement. So he's saying he identifies with these political, this values, him and Justin Peters or whatever. You support people that have no type of integrity. The Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Mike Lindells, you name it, the Matt Gaetz, the people as you see, many of these people as you're seeing go across, these are the turning point political people. So you support that. So I have down here on my notes, because I'm going to show you, I'm going to finish this message out. You got to stay to hear the testimony. I want you to hear this testimony that I'm going to share of danger that I face and how it's going to relate to this message. And I want you to see this clip of an assistant attorney general that grew up in the 40s, 50s, and 60s and experiencing the racism, what he has to say about the 50s and what was going on. And we'll look at another quick clip talking about the 50s, because it's all an illusion where people think that America was great at this certain point when America was never really great, because America has so much blood upon its hands for all of the wrongs. And we can talk about other places around the world as well, because that's a whole nother message. Colonization and all of the craziness. We can talk about all of that. I get fired up about this stuff because it burns me up to see people who forget where they come from. For example, before I get into this, the Nikki Haley, for example, Indian woman at that point. And for some reason, I don't know what it is. I have plenty. I've had some Indian friends over the years, but for some reason they think that they're white and try to identify as white. And I'm just telling you the truth, because on this channel we're going to do that. And Nikki Haley's father, when he immigrated over here, could not get a job working within the white universities. And guess where he ended up working? In a historical black college for over 25 years or so. That's where he was working, because nobody wanted him because of the color of his skin. And then you get the daughter and you get people like that to forget where they come from. So any black person, as far as I'm concerned, that stands by a movement, this is not, you could they try to hide under the guise of things and the party or Christianity or whatever you want to name it, that are trying to put the foots on the necks of people of color, put the foots on the necks of the poor, put the foots on the neck of the elderly, put the foots on the neck of the handicapped, put the foots on the neck of those in society that people look down upon, anybody that stands by that, I don't have no respect for. None. Zero. As far as I'm concerned. And I have down on here on my little notes. Well, maybe we won't get to the notes because this is the question. Because I asked Corey this question before we get to the clips. I asked Corey the question some months back when he was basically letting you know that he supported Donald Trump and things. And I said, I always ask the questions of these, religious, nationalist people. Okay, why would it even have gotten to this point? The man was a felon. The man tried to overthrow the government. The man has no integrity whatsoever, doesn't follow the law, doesn't believe he could do whatever he wants. Why? And I asked him the question, why didn't you support somebody that had some type of integrity, something? And stuff. And then he wrote back, well, who else had integrity or so? And I said, you know what? Guess what? Even though I didn't agree, Mike Pence got into bed with the devil and things, but guess what? He was there during the primaries. So why did, the 7 or 8 out of 10 white evangelicals support Trump when they could have went with a true, Mike Pence, I believe, is a true evangelical. He just has gotten into bed with the devil. And you can see he was vexed. You can see it was tearing him up, just like it's tearing up Marco Rubio, because you can see it in his face as well. But why? And I asked Corey that. Why didn't you vote for him? He never responded. See, and this is the thing. So this tells you a lot. I believe that what's going on or what's happening is that the Lord has ripped the veils off and showing people for who they really are. Showing pastors for who they really are. Showing people that claim to be messengers of the God who they really are. Because how can you stand there and go by daily knowing that many people, jobs snatched up under them because of hate. People going, maybe it will take one of your kids or one of your loved ones, something that happened to them. Maybe you'll wake up then. Maybe if it takes something from this administration, something that happened to you, your loved one, to maybe snap you out of it. But let's look at this gentleman. He was an assistant attorney general here in the South, talking in Mississippi, and he sat there and explaining about just the rottenness of the South. And then I'm going to show you right after. I'm not going to show you that whole clip. We may do it in another video where I show you I just want you to see the beginning part of that. Then I'm going to show you a clip of a gentleman that's living in a all-white neighborhoods there. He working for the white man in Alabama in 1967. My auntie fled Alabama to get out of there because the Klan burned the cross in the neighbor's yard. Alabama was the most segregated out of all the states, and the racism and the craziness there. And I want you to see the fear in this man's eyes as they basically telling him, don't we take good care of you? Don't we take care? And he's got, yes, sir, yes, sir. And he sat up there because the cameraman is filming him. And if he knows that if he doesn't say the right words, that he won't have whatever little job that they're doing, or some of his family or himself may end up missing. Let's listen to this guy first, and then we're going to listen to I want you to see this. You're going to probably I want you to see the fear in the man's guy. You're going to probably get a little angry off this, but you need to be angry. And it needs to be shown, because this stuff is not gone away. It's under a new guise. It's hidden. It's out here now, and you're seeing it. It's within the evangelical churches right now. They haven't changed, the white evangelical churches. Yes, there's racism in black churches as well. That's a different message. But we don't control society like this. Turning Point USA, all the millions and millions of dollars and things that they receive. Blacks, we don't have the power to get this controlled society like these white nationalists want to do. We don't have that. So for people like Corey and them to want to identify with that tells you a whole lot. There's a word for that particular person. Many of you know that it was back in the slave days. We call them a house, you know what? And it has to be told like it is. All of that. Let's look at the video and we'll finish out the message with the testimony.
Everyone watched Ozzie and Harriet and assumed that everyone they knew lived that life. And then they went around pretending that they lived it too. But no one really did. Even Ozzie and Harriet didn't. So on some level, there's been a myth all along. And part of the plague of the 50s was the incredible personal efforts, the incredible pain involved in perpetuating that myth about one's own family, about one's own happiness in that family, about the health of that family.
In the early 50s, America was a horribly segregated country. It was as if the whole South was a rotten fruit that everybody could smell. There were a couple of notorious lynchings in Mississippi. A black kid named Emmett Till whistled at a white woman. They killed him. A black guy named Mac Charles Parker, who was accused of having raped a white woman, taken out of jail, killed, thrown in the river. I think both those guys were thrown in the river. Blacks were routinely pulled out of cars and beaten up by state troopers all throughout the South. Black poverty was just horrible. It was being shown in magazines. And then the Supreme Court decided that it was unconstitutional for states to run segregated school systems. And little cute, clean, starched black kids began to show up on people's television screens, being walked to school by their parents and screamed at by white people. The contrast could not have been more stark. The white people who were screaming were, the caricature is the people, working class people, not terribly clean. Some of them obese, faces distorted with anger. Screaming obscenities at 6, 7-year-old children. Well, television was new, everybody was glued to it. That was one. 2, the country had fought this fight for democracy. Blacks felt it, whites felt it, and blacks were restless. They just, sitting on the back of the bus.
If you just don't understand the connection that we have with the colored people. In other words, we work with them and they work with us. And we're not going to take him and push him off somewhere just because we could do it.
You tell these people that's what I've been telling them right here. Had we been your friends for years?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Had we worked more of them than anybody in this country?
Yes, sir. Sure have.
Right. You got hungry, we give you something to eat, don't we, Bill?
Yes, sir.
And his name is Billy Willie. Billy Willie, that's right. No relation now, but these are Willie, right? How about it, Bill?
Yes, sir.
You proud of that name, Mr. Bill? I expect that name came down. You proud of that name, Mr. Bill?
Yes, sir.
Billy Willie.
Yes, sir.
I think everybody up there know that well,
Yes, sir.
How many people it is here in Pine Hill tonight at 12 o'clock you could go ask them for help, they wouldn't help you.
I am, but what?
Bill, if you got in trouble, who'd you go to, the white or the black? Tell the truth now.
That's the bad word, yeah, Bill, because put them on the spot, because there ain't no color folks in here. You don't want him bad right by himself. But is there anybody here that wouldn't help you, Billy?
No.
We have always got along fine with the niggas. We never mistreated them. And there's no complaints. And they are all happy.
Right on, colored. And get ahead if you're willing to pay the price.
Yes, sir.
The price is willing to do a lot of things you think you got to have and work like the dickens.
How long you been working with these people?
Let me see. I don't know exactly, but it's been might be 20 years, I'm married.
Good folks, ain't it, Bill?
Yes.
Stayed sick a long time. They put you on the job that you could stay on this.
Yes, sir.
Stand for a cigarette.
Yes.
Did I treat you and your dad and your brother all when you lived with me over there? Did I treat you right?
Yes, sir.
I went more than halfway with you, didn't I?
Sure did. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I did, too.
Yes, sir.
And then you see there, the South, the 50s, all of that. It's subtle. And unfortunately, this administration has dug up. Why do you think these white nationalist folks are out and people feel emboldened to say and talk about our black women, talk about Latinos, talk about, Indians, all types of people of color, people, gays, you name it. They are emboldened and feel like they've got the backing. And that's a shame. And it's a scary situation because there's the church setback. And I have to add this in here, why? Because it's in my mind. Remember when they were talking about the Haitians eating dogs and cats in Springfield, right in my state of Ohio? And they were talking about that. And everyone's, they were doing it. Yeah, they're doing that. That's real funny. And they thought that stuff was funny and they were having a good old time with it and things. And I thought about this. And it just dawned on me last week when I was working. I said, you know what? The church, we know it was silent. Nobody stood up. All of these MAGA pastors and the ones that has the connections to the high places and any things, why didn't they say, you know what? Okay, apparently there must be, if this is true, there must be some people hungry in Springfield, Ohio. Let's load up the trucks and get some clothing and load up and bring some food down to help these Haitian migrants, because maybe they are hungry. Maybe we can do something and help people. But you know what? I said, you know what? They didn't do anything. You know why? Because like I always say, they don't care. They're heartless. These folks are heartless. They can give a darn about you, me, or whoever. They don't care. It's all about power, money, and fame with these people. So let me close it out because I'm so fired up, and I hope you guys understand, because, you know, I love people. I love God's creation. I don't want to see souls destroyed off of foolishness. I don't want to see people led astray off of foolishness. And people, my own people, I got to call them out for what it is. I got to call it out. I'll be darned. No. That Turning Point USA is nothing but a sham altogether. Why don't you start your own? If you so want to promote your conservative ideas, then why don't you start your own movement like Charlie Kirk did? But you know what? You won't have the backing. You're not going to get those millions of dollars from all of the people where you can pay people like Kimberly Guilfoyle Newsom to speak on January the 6th, $60,000 to promote a lie. You're not going to get that money from all of the big dogs. But as I close, you know, when many of you know my testimony, when I was in California and we talk about that, me getting involved with the drug game, flying back and forth to Ohio from California with drugs. And when I finally was full-time drug dealing, you know, I had a lot of high-rolling friends. They were the big dogs, selling kilos and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I was, you hanging out with them. But, one of the dangerous things is, and I tell young people this, you're, judged by the company you keep. And people, you hang with people like that, they're going to think you got money like that too. And even though I had a nice, vehicles, I had some nice pickups, chrome rims, all of the drug dealing stuff, flashy, but I didn't have the big money like they did. But at the same time, I was a target. I became a target and almost lost my life 5 times. And the first time I experienced something was when a home invasion happened. And at my house, and this is the house you see here. It looks a little different. I mean, this is years later. This house, but it was all white at that time, white and black or something. But that house right there, $45,000 in 1982, believe it or not. 4-bedroom, 3 full bath. But that's the house. I'm watching the basketball game. Because NBA playoffs, it was in May or somewhere in there. That front door, as you see right here, the whole door comes in. 4 guys in all black kick the door in, coming in to rob me. I'm at the pinnacle of my little height thinking I'm doing something. They come to rob me. I run into the kitchen. I stand at the front of that doorstep, as you see. They shot at me. Missed. I ran through the kitchen, as you see there. And now this is the back porch there. That porch is different. It was stairs. My uncle had built stairs, and then that right there looks totally unstable. You could pay me to step out there. That's crazy. But it had stairs. But I jumped. I didn't go down the stairs. I jumped from the top because I was so fearful for my life, and jumped in, rode, and sprained my ankle. And as you can see from the front of the house, there's a creek there in the backside. And I dove into the creek and rode, and I'm running for my life. Oh my God, please. And all I could hear was pow, 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 gunshots. And as you look right here, this is the hallway of the house. At the far end, that was my aunt and uncle's bedroom. The guys came in, they were shooting down the hallway. My aunt had opened the door, they shooting. My uncle fell back and acted like he was shot. And and they were asking where was my safe. They wanted my safe. They knew I had a safe full of drugs and money. And my aunt just said she freaked out and told them to get out of here. They did not harm her. They pistol whipped my cousin that was in the house. My brother was able to get out and go to a neighbor. But guess what? the bullets didn't hit my uncle or my aunt. And look how narrow that hallway was. And I was able to survive that particular, and along with 4 other attempts of stuff that I told of maybe a couple of stories, but I haven't told all of them. There's maybe 3 more that I could share with you guys at another time. But I wasn't saved. I was just being hard-headed, and I'm out there, didn't know that, man, this drug game is for real. And the point I'm making with this particular message right here is why I wanted to bring this example up, this testimony up about it, of the Lord protecting my entire family and myself, is I was associated with the wrong crowd. I was hanging out with them. People thought that I was the big time dealer just like them. And just like Corey is wearing a TP USA, the Turning Point shirt and things, and think it's no big deal. But in actuality, you spiritually destroying people because people are associating this with this nationalist crazy crap that's going on. They're associating with, why are you supporting a movement that hates people and act like they love people and trying to shove religion down people's throats? What are you doing? You causing people to trip up. You causing people to say, you know what? I don't want anything to do with this Christianity stuff. You guys are so self-righteous. You guys think that you're better than everybody else. You think you guys are all of that. That's what it is. And you're spiritually destroying folks. You are responsible for that. And I believe that God's going to hold every single person that is promoting this type of stuff to destroy people. I believe he's going to hold you accountable for people's lives you destroy. Too many people are being, just because of this crap that's going on that's not the gospel, and it's being intertwined with the political stuff. Shame on you for that. Shame on you, Corey. Shame on any of these other people. And shame on you forgetting about those that sit there and sacrifice so much for all of us. And that goes to white sacrificed as well, because many joined and stood with us through these battles. And you have people in this society, and even within the church, that want to take us back. And you want to stand with a movement that wants to pull people back and try to make it like we just, this total disarray. Yes, we got problems within the black community. Every community got problems. But what are you doing? As I always say, what are you doing to make a difference? Are you volunteering down at the pregnancy center and spending time there to talk to some of these women? Are you getting out there and working with these troubled youth and finding out what's going on? And what are you doing? Nothing. Many of them, they ain't doing nothing but sitting up behind cameras and running their mouth. And on this channel, I'm going to keep running my mouth because I'm going to give God the glory, because that's it. It needs to be told. And we talk about the issues the church run away from, as we always say, tackle Satan and his tactics, punch him right in between the chops. Evangelism for God is the channel. My name is Maurice Braxton. Sorry for being so fired up, but this thing it just gets to me, what's going on, that the deception, and people are just falling off the rails all around us. But we're going to continue to keep the faith, because we know that the gates of hell will not prevail over God's church. And we're not going to let these little phony masqueraders that profess that they got your best interest in heart, when they're pulling the rug out from everybody else. Until the next video, my friends, take care. God bless.